Adriana Monique Alvarez, the founder of Alma Publishing, and I'm super excited to be back for another one of our stories in the So Much More Stories series. And today I'm super excited to have Renata. Hi, Renata. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. I know that this is a big day. You're going to be sharing your story here. And, one of the reasons why we're doing this is because storytelling is often lost in our modern society. People don't even talk like this anymore, right? It's like a text and a wave in the hall. So I wanted to be able to bring together people who are willing to share a story and allow us in on some of the things in their life and their experience and for us to learn from it. So the first thing that I would love for you to share, Renata, is how do most people know you? What are you most known as?
Well, I'm mostly known as an acupuncturist and Chinese medicine practitioner, and a mom and a wife.
Yes. And I have learned over the last year that you are that and so much more. Um, and is there anyone that you want to dedicate this story to?
Yes, I want to dedicate to two. I have two categories. I want to dedicate this story to the moms and the women who feel trapped in their career choice and they don't know how to make a change in their lives. And I want to dedicate this to also to the 6-year-old version of me who pushed me to be here today to share this, and who's also helping me heal. It's all these life experiences, coming to heal and to make us better people and a better version. So the next generation will be better and better, and that's how we move along, right?
That is so beautiful. So I would love for you to go ahead and tell your story. I'm going to mute myself while I send a text to tell them to stop vacuuming during your story.
Okay.
And speaking of real life moments on live video, but I'm listening, so go ahead.
Okay. Well, I wanted to start by saying that I was born and raised in Brazil, in Sao Paulo, and I come from a very humble family. And I have been a very ambitious person since I was little, and I just my poor parents didn't have much to help push me into the world and to create something big. And I come to understand now that I have been helped by many human shaped angels in my whole life. I just didn't know who they were back then, but now like I can identify and I can see how I've been guided this whole time. Um, Back then, I thought I was just a lucky girl to be at the right place at the right time, but I know my angels. I have a huge alliance who is just they're working, and I sometimes I bang heads around, and I tend to not see the light at the end of the tunnel, that guidance, but I'll eventually find it. Um, but anyway, so this is my first career. I was an architect, and that was the reason why I was able to move to this country. I had a job offer, and I was a perfect corporate employee, hard worker person. I worked for several prestigious architecture firms in DC and won many awards um, because I was born to be excellent. And I was a really good architect, and I still hold a huge appreciation for architecture. Um, but then 2011 came, and I was married. I had a toddler, a little girl, and I had a newborn girl in my house. We were under still the huge influence of the downturn of the economy of 2008, 2009. A lot of my colleagues lost their jobs. A lot of architects had to change careers back then. The hard worker here kept her job, but I was under a lot of stress. I had the stress from just the recovery of that phase, all the lost employees. Somebody had to do their work, so I was doing work for more than one person. But I also had my little ones at home, and that time became a really struggle for me because I couldn't see myself as a good enough mom or a good enough professional, because I was really divided. And I truly believe, and I hope that today, uh, being a female architect, being a mom architect, is different than it was back in 2011. But it was really hard to be a mom and to be a professional at the same time. And I felt like I fell into this midlife crisis, but actually I was quite young, so maybe 1/3 of a life crisis, um, where I just everything was wrong. I wasn't good enough for anything. My life wasn't the way I imagined it to be, and I just wanted to have more balance, and I couldn't harmonize uh, that both aspects of me. Um, and that's when another angel came into my life, and she took me to a long walk, and we had a long talk. And I was the perfect corporate mentality kind of person, very abiding to the rules of corporation, and holding your job and moving up in your career. And on top of that, that internal fear, first because I was a foreigner and I almost felt like I wasn't a high priority. So I had to work harder to stand out, to become um, essential. And I also had the mentality of, the dependency on a paycheck, that was expectable, that was guaranteed, that kind of created a pattern in my life that was sustainable and somewhat safe. Um, and she told me, like, how would you like tell me, how would you like your life to be? And I never stopped to think about that. I was like, well, life is the struggle of the daily life. You go to work, you come back home, and you do some work, and then when you collapse in your bed, and then the next day you do the same thing again. And she said, no, think in your mind and tell me like what your ideal day would look like. And I did that for her, and it was the first time I stopped to think about how I wanted my life to be. And that conversation was the big catalyzer of a huge change in my life. We back then we lived in the Washington D.C. suburbs in Virginia, and shortly after, like a huge change was emerged for us. We were able to move to Colorado, which was actually our place of choice. We both, my husband and I, we didn't have jobs. We didn't have a job offer. We didn't have a place to live. But we decided that we wanted to make life better for us. And moving to Colorado was our way of creating that clean slate. And then this time we decided to start our lives with the priorities in the right place. My husband at that time, he is another angel in my life too, and I would have not taken my chances to do any radical change in my life if it wasn't for him, pushing me off the cliff and saying, "You know how to fly, just go." And he did that. First we just embarked in this journey of what it is that I would do with my days. How do I want to support my community, and how and make my living? And I knew I wanted to do something to help people in a different manner than architecture. And I knew I wanted to be in healthcare. So after a series of nudges, another angel, and some amazing synchronicities, I find myself back in school. At almost 40, I quit my career as an architect with all the privileges that I had worked for, all the awards and all of that not having any meaning any longer in my life. And all I wanted to do was something that would not just fulfill me, but be something that would allow me to be the mom I wanted to be. I enrolled in a master's degree in acupuncture and Chinese medicine. those were 3.5 years of being kicked in my ass constantly. I got sick, I got tired, I had so much work to do from school and home. But there was one aspect that kept me going, and it still does it to me today, is the fascination. At that time, I had my eat, pray, love moment. I just remember one phrase of that book that said, I just want to be fascinated about something in my life. And that was it. Um, it's an incredible medicine, and I use that today. That's my profession. But also the transformation that I went through during those years was incredible. And here I am today. It's my second career. I've been practicing medicine. My kids survived. My house survived. Everybody survived, including me. The fact that it was such a challenging time to change careers actually only made me a better healer, because I went through all the hells that most people do with the daily struggles of life, and in being in a world in such fast pace. And and it got done, and I did, and I wouldn't change this in any shape or way. And I want this story to encourage other people who think of this change but never really take that step. And I want to finish with one little thing. So back when I was in school, my children were in preschool and just like starting elementary school. My little one was graduating from preschool and moving to kindergarten. So we had this continuation ceremony at school, and we were at the gymnasium that had a stage, and the kids were supposed to line up and come. They each had a drawing of what they want to be when they grow up. And they would come in the microphone and speak it up. When I grow up, I want to be blah, blah, blah. I was pretty certain that my little one would say, I want to be a veterinarian, because she loves animals and she's been connected deeply with animals since she was a little one. And she would often talk about it. And I still think that might be her way, how she's going to, what she's going to become. But that day, she showed me something much bigger than that. She showed up with a drawing of her mommy with a backpack and a book in her arms. And she said, when I grow up, I want to be an acupuncturist. Not because I don't think, maybe she's not going to be an acupuncturist. But she showed me that she was looking up to me. And just knowing them, sorry, I don't want to cry. I think just the ability that I had to show my daughters that you can have, such big change in your life and create something better and learn a new, completely different career. You can do it. You can do it all. I don't want them to grow and to think that they have to go to college and nail it first time. I don't want them to think that if they choose a career, they have to suck it up and do it for the rest of their lives. I want them to grow and to know that they can be whatever they want to be. So that's my story.
Oh, Renata, such a beautiful story. And thank you for being willing to share it here.
Thank you.
And I agree. And I think this is so timely because many people are going through career changes, right? Sometimes it's forced on us. Sometimes we do it voluntarily. And I was just in a conversation with someone talking about this, about how sometimes success is the greatest enemy to change and evolution, because like you had achieved all the things that most people want to achieve and won the awards. And so it almost seems foolish. Like, why would you walk away from this? You know, you've
Exactly.
done it, but you were so willing to be brave and follow your heart and say, you know what? Yes, I did all of that. And now I have a new dream.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I might have a third one. Who knows?
Who knows? We just keep dreaming. And
Yeah.
and I love when you shared about your daughter, because they are always watching, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they are soaking up not just what we say and do, but who we are. And she saw who you are. This is what it takes, right? So what a beautiful example.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Renata.
Thank you.
Now, how can people connect with you?
Well, I own a practice of acupuncture here in the middle of the Rockies, and I think the best way to reach me is through my website. All my contacts are there. I'm at Rise, RISE, holisticmedicine.com. And yeah, I just hope that somebody will watch this and think, oh my gosh, I'm gonna take a leap as well and go for it, you know. Yeah, get your freedom, get your power back.
That's it. That's it. Here's to taking that leap of faith, no matter what it looks like. You are so capable. Renata, thank you for joining us and for sharing your story.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I want to remind everyone your story matters. If you'd like to share your story here, we'd love to have you. Also, if you'd like to share your story in our next book, The Younger Self Letters, I have a link in the description where you can find out more. Thank you so much. And thank you. Thank you, brave leap flyer. Thanks, Renata. I'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Bye.